you got the eyes of minister and fool. I remember the first time we met. You're looking oh so fine. You were the picture perfect gentleman. Baby, baby, well.
7 days gone. It's the 6th day.
Yes.
So we're counting 7 days.
Yeah,
Tomorrow
Juliana,
is the 7th day.
Juliana Kanyomos reminds us of 7 days, and it's a song we dedicate to our most faithful and loyal Manchester United fans. However, it's now 6 days, so we still have one more.
You feel oppressed? The weekly sports roundup show started with 7 days a week from Juliana. We also have other 7 days plus things. We have 7 days a week, like they say. And we have, I saw the HSBC series. We are in Hong Kong this week. They're also tweeting about sevens because Manchester United considered 7. And then whatever happened or whatever followed after that is totally different. But we'll wait and see, because we have guys who will be discussing about Manchester United and whatever happened on Sunday when they were beaten by Liverpool. That was by 7-0. And then everyone was saying they were beaten the entire week. So today is Saturday. That is...
let's move on.
Mo Salah.
That is Mo Salah. The 6th goal, Mo Salah.
So tomorrow is Firmino Day.
Tomorrow is Firmino, yes.
Okay, the weekly sports roundup show is here. My name is Abu, here with Derek Ashimwe and Timothy. The man from Kampala went and watched Kings Park. There was a rugby for Pirates. They were playing, I think, Hippos. And then there were other games. CAF Champions League was here. Vipers were knocked out, but they're still in there. They still have 2 games. And then I also watched Confederations Cup, and I was trying to follow up.
Technically, they've not been knocked out.
No, they're out.
They're out. As good as done.
Because as soon as you lose a coach, you haven't scored a goal, then we don't have much.
That is a very bad attempt at being politically correct.
One of the games is Raja Casablanca, and everyone knows
Raja Casablanca will come home, but Vipers will have to play in Guinea.
It does not
that is against Horoya. We'll wait and see what happens. We are on CROOZE TV. Go to YouTube, subscribe. First, open an email before you comment, because we shall not read or you won't be able to comment actually if you don't have an email. And log into YouTube, look for CROOZE FM, or even go online on www.cruisefm.com/stream. And you can also go to Facebook on 91.2 CROOZE FM, go to Twitter at 912 CROOZE FM, Instagram at 912 CROOZE FM as well. We are also on TikTok. Go look for 91.2 CROOZE FM. You'll find us. And every video, whatever happens in studio, you'll find it in there. For now, we are on CROOZE TV, but we're also live on radio. My name is Abu, as I told you. We are 3. We have a Manchester United man who is wearing a Manchester United white shirt, the one that conceded 7 for the record. We also have Derek Ashimwe in here, and we have the clue. We have guys on camera. So CROOZE TV is live, and you can find us on YouTube like we told you. We have a lot to talk about.
Just a disclaimer, in the entire studio, there's only one person whose team is in the Champions League quarterfinals.
Okay, that is Derek Ashimwe. Otherwise, how are you doing?
I can't complain, honestly. What a very brilliant
For
week.
Timothy, we understand.
No, I'm doing well.
You're not doing well. We all know you're not doing well.
Guys, I'm doing well, trust me.
At least say you're fair, because the word fair itself is not fair.
United won a game in midweek.
It's okay. It's okay.
You see,
Diversion.
when you bring the word fair, I've just remembered there's a small war going on in the NBA between Draymond Green and Dylan Brooks of the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah.
And Draymond Green made a conclusion that Dylan Brooks has a fair understanding of the game of basketball.
Because he hasn't won.
And the way he uses the word fair, he's literally insulting this guy. So when he says that his week was fair, I still won't take it in the right way.
There are things you have to be very good or to be good. Because fair is not good. That's why it's called fair. So let's go now start with the show. Because I was worried during the week, especially when I watched the entire game for Vipers play against Simba, and I wasn't surprised because the coach was sacked after the game. There is Bianchi, man who's been to Angola. I think he's had a lot of coaching stints in Angola, but he's the guy the scouts brought for Mulindwa. He was in Tanzania as well. I also saw Avram Grant. He came for that game, but he has a guy he was watching who plays for Simba, a guy from Zambia, and it's very good that they follow these guys. Yeah. But now, first things first.
Chama, a couple of years ago, he was linked to the move, I think, to Anderlecht. if I remember correctly, but it never came to
And
fruition.
there are many who went up there
Yeah.
and are doing very well. There's a guy at Rangers,
Yes, Fashion Sakala.
junior.
Yeah.
There's
He's
also
actually one of the best players this season. He's a striker, but they
And
play him off the wing.
every time I see his team post, he's from Zambia
Zambia.
because he scored the goal.
Yeah.
He's done very well. I also feel proud, but also come to Uganda and compare. But let's now talk about the Vipers and the CAF Champions League and whatever happened. Okay, I was going to ask where do we go from here? We've already gone because we've lost Bianchi and we're now looking at a locally based coach. So.
Finally.
Because we've been talking about these things. We can talk about the changes in the team
there's
and the
something I
performance
find-
on the day.
There's something I find interesting. When Bianchi was being unveiled, Lawrence Mulindwa was asked specifically about why he doesn't hire local coaches. And the recording made rounds because he was very sarcastic. He said, local coaches, well, Balunji na ye, our ambitions cannot be matched, but we need a foreign manager who's going to come in and expose the players. And well, the foreign managers they brought in
But
did
you can't have
expose the players.
How
but
do you have a foreign coach whose entire coaching life has been on the African soil?
The argument is because he has been around the African scene for a while, he is well versed with the challenges, with the style of play, with everything to do with. But then you I think his greatest achievement is a 4th place finish with Petro de Luanda, which should be a red flag. Because why are you hiring a guy to take you to the quarterfinals of the Champions League? Because that's what Lawrence Mulindwa said was his target. Why are you hiring a guy who does not have that sort of track record? What are you using to justify such a recruitment policy?
I think sometimes you bite off more than you can chew because Vipers had high expectations going into this. This was their first time ever to reach the group stages of the CAF Champions League. The only club we'd had since the inception of this was KCCA recently, and KCCA I think somehow forced the delusion on Vipers because KCCA, the time they played, we remember the 2-0 victory against Al Ahly. They managed to have a very good game against Mamelodi Sundowns and
Township
Esperance.
Rollers as well.
So in that sense, I think Vipers looked at what KCCA did back then and they felt like if KCCA can do that,
So can we.
Yeah, exactly, so can we.
But then
And
there are so many variables which just aren't in place for Vipers that were in favor of KCCA.
Thank you.
And without seeing that, you cannot replicate the same amount of.
For starters, KCCA had so many players that had actually grown up together, that had actually been molded from the youth development, and they had, of course, Mike Mutebi. It's a different case at Vipers where, well, they are just buying any other player they find.
Because they didn't have to lose their manager midway through the season to their Champions League rival.
Thank you very much. Vipers lost their coach
But they
to a team that is in the same group as them.
And then the manager came and clapped them home and away. You
But-
can't write this script.
But for Vipers, for me, it's entirely different. We've been talking about because you're coming to a team that has bought 11 players, and you're coming to a team that is in
that
the
has
last
lost
3 years.
its main goal scorer and failed to replace him.
We can understand that because you're supposed to. Okay, he leaves and you have others. But if you look at the guys who came in,
Actually, what they did was as soon as Manzoki, because the rumors suggesting Manzoki was leaving started.
he was actually going to Simba.
And they started a long time ago. It's been like a year of those stories. You have time to identify who do they bring in? Abubakar Lawal.
From unknown, and then there are guys who came in from Congo, Osomba, and the likes, and then
Osama has actually been the most decent of the whole bunch. He's the only one
about the locally best players. That
Actually, that's
came in.
That's another point to make. I was here 2 weeks ago, and I said something to the effect of one of Bianchi's main challenges is not even on field. It has to do with, there was a story that was breaking at that time, which has now been confirmed.
The different camps in the team
that
itself.
You have factions of players who are not even passing to themselves on the pitch.
Some are international. International is quote unquote,
You know,
by the way.
it's one thing to have an argument of maybe some players feel like others are favored more or others are hyped more. But when it gets to the point where players are deliberately refusing to pass to some other players because they are in another faction, that's very childish. It's almost juvenile. You're thinking, how does this work? How are you going to have so Bianchi had his work cut out I think the writing was on the wall.
And that is where I tell you that man management slightly beats tactics. For a coach, man management slightly beats tactics, and that is one of the things he failed to get right. The fact that you have international players from Nigeria, from Burundi, from Congo being together, and then the locally best ones also being together, and that translating on the pitch, that spelled doom for them. But talking about international players, the goalkeeper Mudekeleze, for me, what he did in the first game against Raja Casablanca, it set the pace for the entire campaign.
Let's go for a break. We'll return.
Before we go for the break, I'm wondering, at what point do we hold Lawrence Mulindwa
accountable? Yes.
Okay, we shall come back and hold him accountable and responsible. We're going for a break. We'll return and talk more about Vipers and then talk about the Uganda Cranes.
When I'm shifting gears, but the journey isn't shifting, Sting Energy Drink is my companion.
When I have to stay out on the water for long, catch the big fish, Sting is my bait.
With the Sting, I go from...
.2 CROOZE FM, great music, great friends. We have 23 minutes past midday. I'm called Dabo. I'm here with Timothy and Derek Kashimwe, and we're talking about the sports stories that happened during the week. We are off Manchester United, but we'll come back for you, and that is in the second hour. For now, we are still talking what happened in the CAF Champions League, and also talk about the Uganda Cranes, and then you can be part of this show. Call 075291219112 and then 0780912910, and we can hear from you on YouTube, Cruise TV. That is also www.cruisefm.com. facebook.com. That is /stream, and you'll get us from wherever you are. Now the guys in Dubai, the guys in Turkey can watch live. That is from studio. But go to Twitter at 912 CROOZE FM and Facebook at 91.2 CROOZE FM. Go to Instagram and TikTok. We are also in there. Look for 91.2 CROOZE FM, and you'll see every video. That actually there are many videos of the guys scoring goals and the commentary from Sawe, so you can get everything in there. But for now, we'll tell you about there's so many good and bad things that happened during the week. Vipers sacked a coach after he lost another game, and that is against their former coach. We are talking about Bianchi, who lost to Robertinho. But Robertinho, of course, are winning 2 games, and all of them against Vipers by 1-0. So what do you make of what do Lumbio Mgaga?
I was saying, right before the break, I was talking about when do we hold Lawrence Mulindwa accountable?
You as who?
That's a very good question. You as who?
No. The thing is, consumers of sports.
Good, you're using
Eventually, we
consumers.
have to,
I thought you were going to say fans.
No.
Or well-wishers.
Consumers of sports. We have this little bit of entitlement that we carry about because.
But it's okay because people pay money to watch football.
He said it very clearly. There's, I think, an excerpt of him saying his dream is to make Vipers like Tipi Mazembe.
Why Tipi Mazembe are good?
No. He said that was the beginning point. He wants to make it a continental force, but first, and then you're telling me you want to be seen as a flagship club. Vipers have a track record. If you look at their record of managers, everybody knows their managers are not going to stay around that long. You know Robertinho is leaving at some point. You're supposed to do due diligence and say, in case what's your contingency plan?
You should have a safety net.
What's your contingency plan?
Now talking about Tipi Mazembe, and if you look at the other guys that have previously won the CAF Champions League, for example, because I'm very sure it's where he wanted the coach to excel. Unfortunately, he didn't, and you cannot come to a club within that short period, and then you ask to maybe play at the quarter-final or a semi-final of the CAF Champions League. But if you look at a team like Mamelodi Sundowns, for example, or the team that won for them the championship, and even the team that is playing now, because they are promising, there are so many points ahead in their league. And if you look at because you're talking about guys, he has a player from Ivory Coast, he has a player from Burundi, he has players from Congo, he has South Sudan, Nigeria, and Ugandan internationals. But now we look at these other teams and the internationals they have, and even the performances they put. I don't think Mulindwa can afford. Maybe he could, but if you look at Mamelodi, they had a player from Uruguay. They had a player from Chile.
The player from Uruguay was Nascimento, the left-footed centre-back.
From Argentina. And Gaston Cirino from Uruguay. And these are proven guys, or actually they came and proved the point that they can play and actually win. Now, when you look at the crop of players, okay, Mulindwa brings, because he wants to make a Tipi Mazembe. I don't know whether buying players from Congo makes it Tipi Mazembe in Uganda.
Well, that's makes it literally.
Maybe he meant it literally in terms of.
So he went and raided Congo.
But now, away from whatever happened, because we are looking at them now, trying to chase KCC to catch up with them at the top of the table.
7 points off, I think. SC Villa are now ahead of them.
Moving forward, what do they do? Okay, we can now talk about next season.
I think, first of all, this whole idea that you need to get in a foreign manager. This is a tired subject. Lots of people have touched on it. I honestly do not. Okay, when it works like it did with Robertinho, of course it looks very good. It looks like a stroke of genius. But when it doesn't, the same amount of vitriol gets thrown at you. So I think
it hasn't worked multiple times.
That's my point. If
it was a one-off, I would understand, but multiple times there's a question mark.
Miguel da Costa?
Yes, da Costa, the Mexican. Yes.
You look at
Miguel da Costa is from Portugal.
There is a whole list of these guys, and they're not working, which means you're recruiting the wrong foreign coaches.
Because now, if you look at Simba, for example, the guys from Tanzania, they have a coach from Tunisia. Okay, young. They have a coach from Tunisia. And for me, it's doing okay. If you look at the performance they had against Rio soccer club from Bamako.
Yeah.
That is Mali. The team they beat 2-0 in the Confederations Cup.
Yes.
And look at the performance they had. At least you see change. But when you look at what Uganda played, I would understand the opponents because we are the weakest team in the group. When you look at Vipers and then compare with the rest of the guys in terms of experience and then how they are performing actually domestically and how they have been organized, how they recruit players.
Does the nationality of the coach really matter? That's what I really want to ask.
But
here's the thing. One of the reasons yesterday anonymous players were giving opinions
From
how
Vipers.
Ugandan sport works, and they were saying ono musajja ekisooka tamanyi luzungu kati wedde byabadde ayogera ffe twadde
I didn't have a son, but
So, what is the common ground? Which language is supposed to be used for communication?
So there was a complaint.
He is Spanish
There was
for
a complaint
starters.
that there was trouble understanding his instructions because he would have to go through an interpreter and messages would get lost in interpretation, and then
No,
Beto would get angry at the players and abuse them.
there's
And
no.
they took-
The reason I want to just put a note to
So they
that
would
is
understand that he's abusing them and would not
the
understand.
translator has to
them
do that.
this.
No, you remember the clip that surfaced during the World Cup when Saudi Arabia beat Argentina. Saudi Arabia coached by Javier Renard,
Yeah.
the same guy that won AFCON with
Legend.
Zambia and
And
Ivory
Ivory
Coast,
Coast.
and he didn't know Arabic. So he had a middleman that would pass along his instructions. Trust me, if the instructions and the tactics are spot on, unless the middleman
maybe
messes
the-
them up.
Maybe the Spanish middleman was the one who was getting this whole thing wrong.
But
But
again,
I think this is easy to solve.
I want to ask something.
Get in a local manager.
Like who? Because one thing Ugandans fear,
Yeah.
especially the clubs, they don't want to work with these professionals. If you look at, there's a guy who was coaching a Villa and then Uganda Matters University.
Yes.
He went to Germany. I think Shafiq Bisaso right now is one of the most qualified coaches.
Yes.
Leave alone Shafiq Bisaso. You have an academy in Chitende where players are brought up. You can even afford to buy other players. You have Mike Mutebi. He's not been coaching for some good time.
He had that ill-fated
Wh-
spell
why
in
do-
Rwanda.
Yes.
Rwanda.
Why do? And the reason he actually couldn't make it in Rwanda is because he was too professional.
Yes, to go up
For
play
the
along
club.
with what? Yes.
So if we stop hiring guys we can easily toss around, I think it can work.
But now that you make that point, Abu, unless Mulindwa and Mutebi might have a clash of egos, the structure that was at KCC, where you have a lot of players coming from Chibuli, the Julius Polotos, Alan Okelos,
It's perfectly replicated.
at Vipers, you have Chitende, which is the best source of players.
Yes, I feel like
Because
it would work.
if you look at the schools that produce the best players,
Yeah.
we've had Chitende, we've had Chibuli, we've had Budo SS.
Yes.
You have
Maybe lately, yeah.
you have the source right there with you. If you can get to the right times with
So it's
with Mike Mutebi,
it's a
he
case
can
of-
replicate what he did at
it's a
KCCA.
case of Bielsa and Everton.
Bielsa asked them for a
I've
season.
always been one of those people who believes Mike Mutebi would actually work wonders at Vipers. Unfortunately, I don't see it ever happening
Why?
because you can
because you cannot they cannot work with
I
him.
just don't see it.
But the other
happening.
guys who have come into the thing and you see they are promising. So
Anyway, all this is moot because at the end of the day,
I-
Edward Gorora will come in.
Edward Golola is like their Goose Hindik.
They call him
From
Mr.
your-
Fix-It.
from your-
The
no,
way
no,
Abramovich
but
used to call Goose Hindik is
they
the
are
way
not
they call
looking at
Golola.
Alexis Sabile, a guy who
Bull?
won the Uganda Cup with
Yeah.
Bull FC. So anything we can expect. He's been at this level.
I saw a link
with the URA.
to Abdallah Mubiro as well, but he has a contract with, I think, Mwebe. It's a Tanzanian team. I
Yeah.
don't see how they buy out his contract. So I think ultimately, if they have to move for a manager, probably they will move for Isabidi.
Okay, let's talk more about the CAF Champions League because games continue today. Mamelodi Sundowns will play against Al Ahly. Been watching the build-up for this game. Everyone has been told to wear yellow. That is in South Africa. They play Al Ahly at 4 p.m. Then Petro de Atletico of Angola, the land of Bianchi, will play Wydad Casablanca. And then we have Kabylie who play AS Vita. That is from DR Congo. And Kabylie is from Algeria. But some very quick, we have the Under-20 Africa Championship today. That is the final at 8 p.m. Yesterday, Nigeria won against Tunisia by 4-0. Very good performance from the boys, although they couldn't score that stoppage time penalty to equalize against Gambia and take the game to extra time. But now Senegal can win every African tournament if
Which
they
will,
complete this.
which will be unprecedented. I don't think anyone has done that. Firstly, I want to tell you I'm disappointed with Nigeria. I expect them to be in the final. But the way this works, I think what everyone is targeting is getting to the semi-final of the AFCON Under-20. Because once you get to the semi-final, that is an automatic qualification to the Under-20 World Cup. Nigeria got that when they beat Uganda in the quarterfinals. And for them, they are the record holders of this AFCON Under-20.
So maybe they are not that hungry for it.
I would say so.
They had done that.
The biggest goal is to go to the AFCON, or rather the World Cup Under-20, which I think will be in Indonesia this year. And they've gotten that. Once they beat Uganda in the quarters, I feel like their work was cut out for them right then. So they could have lost just like they did in the semi without getting to the final. And I think they'll still be good. They have that boy that plays on the left wing. His name is Ibrahim Mohammed. Very, very tricky winger who, if he goes through the right channels, I see him playing in Europe and not very far from now. But also, if Senegal can pull off this and win it, that means you've won the AFCON, the senior AFCON, you've won the Under-20, you've won CHAN, and no one cares about this, but you've also won the beach soccer tournament.
How did Senegal go from perennial butlers to kings of Africa once again?
And they've played in back-to-back World Cup.
This is what we call process.
Yeah.
This is what
I think that's something to be studied.
Magogo and Uganda are trying to copy.
Yes.
But it has not worked out.
So
But
far, so
the difference between Senegal and these other guys or the other countries, or even Nigeria, the reason they do well is every year there's a crop of players coming from Europe. They have new talent. You hear there's a new player at a certain club, and these guys come and play for their national teams. But the difference may be that between that and Uganda is our boys get lost when we are done with the Under-20 where we perform okay, and then in the next 2-3 years you don't see these guys anywhere. We make transfers, we make bad decisions. Eventually we come back into the country. We can't play CHAN because our best player from this season has gone to Tanzania, has gone to Rwanda.
But 9 out of 10 of the Ugandan players that leave, that get a move off a good tournament, off a good season,
They come back.
2 years later, they are back in the
That's
country.
a discussion we're having last time about continuity. What actually happens to these players' development along the way?
Do you know where you're going to see that very well? When Abu reads for you the 30-man provisional squad for the Uganda Cranes.
Right.
That's when you will see it perfectly.
We have guys on YouTube though, but most of them are talking about Liverpool, Chelsea, asking about injuries, Gabriel Jesus. But there's one guy who has liked the man in a Manchester United shirt. There is Rikan Talemwa.
I appreciate
You're smart.
Now, I wanted to ask the question: is he smart in terms of what he's wearing, or what is the content in the head,
Just to
or neither?
Boleka.
It could be neither,
because it's white.
or both.
But there's Bamwine Felix, he says, welcome to the show. They're talking about Manchester United. We'll talk about Manchester United in the next hour. We have Kakulu Eliezer, he's in there. Wakesa James as well. And we have Junior Victor Junior. I don't know the difference between the two names. And then Wakesa James as well. This is Bievire Samson. He's also on. And Betunga Sarapio. He's saying hi to Sankara. Sankara is CEO Chintu Chino, is the one putting us on YouTube on CROOZE TV. So Twitter live via Sankara. Creative media is his thing. So we have Omega also who wants updates about Gabriel Jesus, and Clovens Katushabe. He thanks us for the good work, but he's asking about Gabriel Jesus and when he returns. So briefly, we have many good things that are happening across Uganda and elsewhere. Let's talk briefly again about they're called the Big League. The Big League games that came through Thursday. I was in Kataka, that is Mbale, and they played against Mbarara City. The game ended 0-0, and they have the best surface, but the stadium inside, something you cannot describe.
Ironically,
but the surface is
they are
very
called
good.
Kataka.
No,
And they have the best surface.
It is one of the best I've seen in Uganda.
I hope they no longer do those things of stopping
Throwing
television
stones.
crews.
I ran away because I noticed. I noticed if I finished the game, maybe I was going to get a stone. But there are guys who are so passionate about what they support and what they like. And also,
there was a curious story at the end of the season. They got relegated
when they beat up players and officials.
That game was supposed to be televised, and the officials said, "No, for us, we don't want a TV crew here." Yeah. And I said, "Why?"
That is happening a lot in Uganda. I've heard of a team.
What exactly do you want to do in the dynamics?
No, because it is believed when the game is on TV, the referees will not cheat.
Okay.
And that's why very many teams lose away.
You have to add allegedly.
Away from home. But Karoka Lunjawa went to Northern Gateway in Lira and lost by 1-0. And I was in the argument somewhere because I've been to Lira. So from Uganda, they played on Thursday. They played on Sunday, then traveled, I think, on Monday. And was supposed to have another game in Lira on Thursday. And I was looking at the journey. But the complaints were because Karoka has not gotten anything away from home. I think they have one draw.
They have a draw
and then they have lost the rest of the games. So people were saying, there is no way you can convince us that you can't get at least a point away from home. Because Northern Gateway is the last team on the table. And Karoka had put up a run of 3 wins. No team in the big league has won 3 games in a row. So these guys put up that run. And they were very confident heading to Lira, but unfortunately they couldn't win. And then Chitala picked up a win at NEC. NEC has a player called Kavuma, their captain. I've moved to 4 stadiums this season to watch how that guy plays. The guy is very good.
I
But
think he won't be there
we were surrounded by a lot of talented players.
Is he more
from Chitala.
technically able than Habib Kavuma?
Yes, he is. Please, don't do this.
Guy Mulunji.
Don't do this.
Habib Yasamba ku national team by the way.
Stara's goal actually came off a free kick. It was very, very late in the game.
84th, 85th.
86th.
But NEC has had a habit.
penalty.
Actually, the last 4 games,
Yeah.
the last 4 games they have won, all of them have been stoppage time.
Yeah. They
So now they lost in stoppage time as well.
that means Chitara go clear at the top of the
To
table.
38 now.
Yeah.
Wait, they came into this game level on points. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Big decider. 1 versus 2.
Yeah.
So 1 beats 2.
And Mbarara City and Police could have taken
Advantage of that.
They did not. Both of them drew. So
They didn't. But I think we still have a long way to go. We'll wait for the rest of the games. But for everyone who supports the big league, I've seen it's the most competitive so far. Because when you look at the top, maybe teams
There's a
are
battle.
comfortable in
There's a
there.
battle, yeah.
But when you look at the bottom as well, teams are trying to win games. Okay, we'll find out whatever happens with the big league and the rest of the sports. But now we shall go for a break and then return and talk about Uganda Cranes, because the team was summoned. We're supposed to play Tanzania in another qualifier for the Africa Cup of Nations. It looks possible, but if we lose, it will be impossible for us. Salim Jamal, the guy who has kept the most clean sheets in the South African League, is in there, and we shall talk that and more when you come back after the break.
Ono ye sports bwino. Ono ye sports bwino. Omuli ebikulu bye weetaaga okumanya mu muzannyo gw'endiba buli ssaawa. Wano ku radio esinga okumanya ebyemizannyo. 91.2 CROOZE FM.
Obadde okimanyi nti byafaayo ebya Premier League guli omupiira gumu gwokka ogwali guwezeemu goolezi 9 wabula nga basambi 9 ab'enjawulo baziteebye. Guno gwali mu mwaka gwa 2025. Arsenal ngekuba Spurs goals 5-4 era goolo za Arsenal azaatebwa Thierry Henry, Lauren Maya, Patrick Vieira, Freddy Ljungberg, Sako Robert Pires, ate ku side ya Spurs Nordin Anaibet, Jermaine Defoe, Ledley King, Sako Freddy Kanute bebaasa okuba nga bateeba.
Oyo ye bwino omusanga wano ku 91.2 CROOZE FM. Linda
and spot-on analysis.
The weekly sports roundup show on 91.2 CROOZE FM. Great music, great friends. We now have a quarter to 1 p.m. But in the next hour, we'll entirely change and talk about European football. But this time around, as if there's one team in Europe, we'll tell you about that one. They conceded 7. That is Manchester United for you. And we'll also talk about the UEFA Champions League. Unfortunately, on this show, sometimes we avoid Europa. So there's no escape. But you can be part of this show by going to CROOZE TV on YouTube. We have guys who are there already and who are saying hi to them. But we'll read the comments because most of them are about Manchester United, and they're also about Gabriel Jesus. That is the majority because most of the people support either Arsenal or Manchester United, apart from a few who have just come into the thing. But Man City,
what are you trying to say?
Our Chelsea.
What are you trying to say?
When did you start supporting
Chelsea? Having the most fans doesn't make you the best team.
Seriously, it means at one point you are the best.
Yeah, Chelsea has 2 Champions Leagues, which can't be said about some other teams.
London has only 2 Champions League titles.
Actually, yeah.
And that was proven to me when Spurs lost to AC Milan. A very horrible AC Milan.
5 finals. But Milan played very well. And they had a goalkeeper who I thought was playing like 4 numbers. He would cover on the right,
he was the best, on the left. He was the best goalkeeper to me the other year. I was happy to see him.
He was okay. He came back in time because they have been suffering with. The other guy is called Tata
Rusano. I do not like him. Tata Rusano.
Okay, let's tell people the numbers they can call. It's 075291219112, then 078091219110, 91.2 CROOZE FM on Facebook, and then at 912 CROOZE FM on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok as well. But on YouTube, we are in there. Go to www.cruisefm.com/stream, and that is for you who cannot watch YouTube or who can't comment on YouTube but just want to listen. That is our online, the other stream line. Abu is in here. I'm with Derek Ashimwe and Timothy, the man who is the smartest in the Manchester United shirt. Yeah. But let's now talk about the Uganda Cranes. Aren't you smart? Smart ain't you?
Somebody will have peace in their country. It's okay.
Oh, you'd have us the mantai. Okay, let's talk about the Uganda Cranes because the team was summoned by our national team coach. He's been quiet out of the news, but finally we are going to be playing against Tanzania.
It's almost like he doesn't want any unwanted attention.
If you're Chani, under 20, I haven't heard about him. And one thing I've liked about him is during this period, I just haven't seen him go to TV to analyze games like he was doing before. Yes. But this time around, he called his team, and I'm very happy that the guy at Richards Bay, and there is Salim Jamal got a red card the other time in the 19th minute, and the team lost by 2-0, but at least he's back in here. We have 2 goalkeepers on form. One of them is Charles Rukwago at St. George. They're leading the table and doing very well. And then Salim Jamal. But there are guys, of course, who question marks always arise. How can a guy at Gaddafi, worst in form, what is he doing here? Okay, so what do you make of the entire team?
How do you answer that?
Possibly say to justify, but well.
Okay, what is he doing? Okay, we can understand because he was in the team for Chan. We need to keep him around.
Alionzi Nafian also called up.
Yeah, he's in
there. Goalkeeper. He had
fresh after wedding.
He had a mixed Chan.
Chan, I think he did okay.
He did well in the match against, I think it was
Ivory Coast.
No,
it was Senegal.
The first match where he saved a spot kick.
So after a calamitous start, he saves a spot kick.
The only game we won in Chan anyway.
Yeah. So, how about the goalkeepers? I've been impressed by Salim Jamal and all the calls for us to have a goalkeeper who I think can be consistent and take us in the next 3, 4, 5 years. I think Salim Jamal, the fact that he's playing consistent at Richards Bay, and then when you look at the other guy who should have been deputy to Onyango at Mamelodi Sundowns, there is Ismail
Watenga, who is also at Gallants in South Africa. Yeah. How many goalkeepers do we have in South Africa?
Right now, 2.
Onyango.
We have
Watenga.
Onyango Ateyachita.
I saw him play the other week in the Nedbank Cup.
I mean for the Uganda Cranes. He's an ambassador now because he retired. But we now have 2 goalkeepers, I think.
Yes.
can actually become our number one goalkeepers. That is Watenga. The fact that he's training every day, gets cup games and plays, and then Mr. Consistent, Salim Jamal.
Salim should have been integrated into the system a long time ago when he was at El Marik in Sudan. I feel like I did watch him in one Sekafa Kagame Cup. That is the time that I actually realized he was a very good goalkeeper. That is the same Sekafa Kagame Cup, if you remember, when KCC were very, very good, and the left-footed boy, his name has left my mind, at KCC. Majwega, yes. Majwega was so brilliant in that tournament.
And I was kindly requesting for permission of Wawe was Jabboard because he talked about Brian Majwega, which got me Salim Jamal. There's a story I had a couple of years ago about how he was
justifying it.
But there was a story about political situation
previously.
Yes,
like what happened in the other AFCON?
He did what Onyango did just behind the scenes and much earlier, and unfortunately he did not have the same sort of leverage because, well, Onyango.
And that's why he was out. But now problem is we are beginning to notice, and also we don't have goalkeepers.
Oh yeah,
if you look at Odongo Kara, I've seen him at Walakite for some. Ochan is out of goal. There's another Ochan who is outcompeting him at KCC. Yes. But the problems we've had, especially with the games we've played previously in these own qualifiers, is that we've lacked confidence in goal. When Charles Rukwago is out of the team, we struggle a lot. If you look at what happened at Chan and the list we had for goalkeepers who are going to Chan, now if Joel Mutakubwa is still called into the national team and is playing for me at the worst form team, I don't know, they are not doing well. That is Gaddafi. And he was at Express the other time. He was okay because they won a trophy. But if you look at the performance of Gaddafi right now, I don't think we would be calling him to the national team.
Two things I'm going to ask. One, we've already played the hardest side in our group, which is Algeria. We lost 2-0. A game where Farouk Mia missed a penalty. And we've drawn with Niger. Now, what I want to ask, from the 30-man provisional squad, 13 are from the Ugandan scene, basically. What does that translate to?
When I first saw his team,
we don't have players.
When I first saw his team,
because usually you would find like only 5 from the Uganda Premier League, then the rest would be internationals playing elsewhere. But now you have 13, which is almost 50%.
What happens is there is that belief, in quotes, that they are building a team for the future. If you look at the guys that have been called within the guys that have mixed up with the foreign best players, these are guys who are in the system ever since we started the juniors league. Under 18, under 17, then under 20, under 19. So there's a belief that let's keep these players. Maybe at one point they will form a team and they will start winning games. But my problem is one, because if you look at a guy like Ndahiro, for example, no national team calls up Ndahiro because he's not performing at URA. If you look at Aziz Kayondo on the plane from America now to Liganes, I feel certain things happen too quickly. Timothy Awanyi has been consistent at
very, very in Israel.
Ashdod in Israel, and then Halid is just gotten a new team.
I think some of the players on this list who are probably called up, they're going to get cut off eventually.
They will, but
I think for some of them it's purely about exposure. I was saying, well, you're not going to make this team, but 2 years from now you need to be a mainstay in the team, so they have to introduce.
And it doesn't happen because every game now we play, apart from the other time Micho took us to the AFCON, by then you would actually tell 7-8 players on the national team. But right now, if you look at the players they have called, now who
you can't formulate a starting 11.
We had the Mugabe before. Right now, I don't see him in the team. And if you watch the game between Simba and the Vipers and watch the Livingston
Mulondo Chewamukola in that game in Tanzania.
At some point, the frustration got the better of him.
So if you look at now the backline we've had, because Uganda has been consistent in defense and everything. Now we have Kenneth Semakura in there. We have Ndahiro, Livingston Mulondo. We have good Geoffrey Waswa. He's been okay at KCC, but we need a lot. This team cannot play together. If we are building, then I don't know which kind of team we are building. But if, the midfielders, Raj Sentamu is in there. Khalid Daucho, I watched him on Wednesday. Then Babos Vyarohanga.
Who hasn't
out
played much?
He's lost now.
In Austin.
And then Serwada, Ismail Mugurusi, and Alan Okero plus Farouk Mia.
I think the one call-up for me that stands out for me, which also gives me a headache, is Travis Mutiaba amongst the forwards. He's a player that I really like, a very creative outlet. In Chan, he wasn't getting any minutes, and I thought, well, AFCON under 20, he's also not getting any minutes. And Uganda, we've always had that player that makes things happen. We've had Farouk Mia for quite some time. I'm one of those that think he has run his course. If you go back in the day, you had the Mike Serumaga here. You had certain players that would, when the game is gone, you have someone that can unlock a defense. And I think Travis Mutiaba is that.
Oloya.
Dan Wagaluka at some point.
Now, when we compare those with the guys we have now, who stands out? Or which guy do you think can win us a game?
I think if Alan Okelo turns up, he can actually decide that. Listen, hear me out.
It's okay, we are hearing.
Alan Okelo's career so far at the national team, he has
the
not
worst.
Really. Yes, it doesn't come off. You watch him play and you're like, why doesn't it translate? And personally, I think it's just a matter of time.
The only time I've seen him is when he's playing for Lango. He's a totally different player.
In the FIFA drum.
Totally different. To get them NBA Newalala, we summarize and go for a break, then come back and talk about what people want to hear.
Well, Formula One, the season started last week. The first race in Bahrain. And for me, the best driver on the day was Fernando Alonso. The guy is 41, finished third. That is his 99th time to finish on podium in his career. And if you look at his peers, the Raikkonens have already retired, and you would expect this guy to also be...
Man raced against Michael Schumacher.
Yes, you would expect this man to be at home somewhere, but he had a very good race. He had that tussle with Hamilton. Wow. It was the highlight for me. That is in the race.
Max Verstappen said he was watching it while he drove, while he raced. He had to...
Okay, that is a level of Cristiano Ronaldo arrogance, where you're racing, you're leading, but you're also following the Hamilton thing. But anyway, Verstappen started from where he stopped last season.
He finished 26 seconds. No, 12 seconds ahead of his teammate Sergio Perez, Checo Perez.
It was a 1-2 for Red Bull.
40 seconds ahead of the next non-Red Bull car. The
Aston Martin of Fernando Alonso.
Which, by the way, is being called a third Red Bull now. Because one of the people involved in its design, Dan Fallows, was at Red Bull last season. And now he was poached by Aston Martin.
Control-C, Control-V, copy and paste. But what I can say from what I saw in that race, I feel like it will be a tussle between Red Bull, Ferrari, and if anyone is to interject amongst those two, most likely it will be the Aston Martin. Even Hamilton and Mercedes, Baki deserted that still the car is not up to standard to race with the other two.
Hamilton actually said he drove that car the first time and he told Mercedes what was wrong with it. And they did not listen to him. He was actually complaining.
The back-to-school season shouldn't be a reason for stress. Pay school fees at your convenience using your mobile phone. Simply dial *165 *80# or use the Momo app. Pay school fees the smart way with MTN Momo. So, what are you doing today? Terms and conditions apply. MTN Mobile Money Uganda Limited is regulated by the Bank of Uganda.
Twabantu gamba amizigo kunywa.
The weekly sports roundup show, 91.2 CROOZE FM, great music, great friends. We have 9 minutes past the hour of 1 p.m. My name is Abo, here with Timothy and Derek Ashimwe. And do you know suggestions you know? The story that made headlines across Europe is what? Scott Parker being sacked.
Scott Parker was fired. He was appointed on 31st December.
Yeah, but...
And he was fired after Bruges lost 7 in Champions
had a
League.
good run in the Champions League.
That's what I wanted to talk about. You go through the Champions League with the best defensive record in the whole competition. Because Bruges, I think, conceded 2 goals the whole of the group stages. Then you bring in Scott Parker, who conceded 9.
As Bournemouth manager against Liverpool.
So, what's the ratio? What exactly are you
He was appointed on 31st December. I wanted to ask you, him and Bianchi at Vipers, who outlasted who?
Bianchi was the worst. Bianchi had 57 days.
No, but you see, if you're to compare Bianchi with anyone, it has to be Frank de Boer, the worst Premier League manager of all time. 7 games, 7 losses, 0 goals.
I know, but even if you look at the opponents, the other one was playing in the Premier League, but the guy was played against Ginger North.
and couldn't win.
And still couldn't score in the Uganda Cup and in the league. But you can be part of this as well. Call 075291219112, then 078091219110, 91.2 CROOZE FM, Facebook at 912 CROOZE FM on Twitter, Instagram, and the other one is TikTok. You can also watch us live in studio via CROOZE 2. Yeah, that is a CROOZE TV on YouTube. Go subscribe. Also, don't skip ads. Let them play so that we can make money. And we have many guys who are already, there is on YouTube and watching CROOZE TV live. Nwata Wilson says, welcome to the Sports Roundup show. We're into the second hour. Instead, we welcome you. Regan Talemwa, Yalemede Kumuyayi wa Manu wano. And also have Omega, who wants to know updates about Gabriel Jesus and Junior Victor Jr. I don't know. So, Junior, you can't be a son of Junior.
What happens actually?
If there are 2 names,
what happened?
Like Ashimwe, now you're a son of Ashimwe.
You said that, and
no,
Michael B. Jordan, a guy in Creed.
Yes, the actor.
I was shocked to find out that his father is Michael A. Jordan.
Okay. And I think he has Tanzanian roots in there. But LeBron's son is called LeBron James Jr.
Yeah.
So if LeBron James Jr. has a son,
in northern Uganda, if you're called Okelo, you're a son of Okelo.
Okay. It's like the bean with the Arabs. Bean means son of. So the van with the Dutch.
The other guy is Ad Junior, but the other side it's Okelo. Let's talk about betting tips. Last weekend, who betrayed us? It was I think an early kickoff, either Valencia. They conceded 1, but Valencia played on Sunday. I remember we lost 1 out of the 10.
But City scored 2.
Yeah, but we can do it again. Today, Bournemouth take on Liverpool. If it was Tottenham Spurs that beat Man U, I would give a win to Bournemouth. Because so many things happen to Spurs after they pick big wins. But unfortunately, it's Liverpool, and they're on form right now in contention for the top 4. They take on Bournemouth, the early kickoff here on 91.2 CROOZE FM. The game will be live, and I think it will be live on CROOZE TV as well. We have Crystal Palace taking on Man City, the conquerors of Manchester City. And I've seen Lokonga saying he can do better.
Should I give you a stat I've never had? Crystal Palace last 3 Premier League games, 0 shots on target.
0 shots on target, same as Leicester City.
0 shots on target.
Leicester haven't had a shot on target.
The last 2 games, nothing.
Oh, 2 games. Because against United, they had several big chances in the first half.
And the guy was man of the match. He also won save of the match from the same game. But Breto take on PSG. Wounded PSG were beaten by Bayern Munich and Bayern themselves play against Augsburg. Schalke 4 in the Ruhr Derby take on Borussia Dortmund. Napoli take on Atalanta and Bologna take on Lazio. Sasuna play Valencia. Real Madrid against Espanyol. Citad against FC 20. 2 goals in every game. That is FC 20, Real Madrid, Valencia, Lazio, Napoli, Borussia Dortmund, Bayern Munich, PSG, Manchester City, and Liverpool. Actually, the team that betrayed us last week was Borussia Dortmund. They won by 1-0. So that is it. 10, you can choose the best for you and leave what you think will not work for you.
Dortmund had won 10 straight games.
Until they met Chelsea. Wow. They had actually not lost in 2023.
10 straight wins and couldn't keep a 1-0 lead.
But Chelsea has a coach that has small team mentality. Every time they win a game, he talks about the performance. I think he records every pass. He records every run, and then comes to the press conference and gives credit.
This is a guy who has coached Östersund in Sweden. His biggest achievement there was beating Arsenal in the Europa League. He then went to Swansea. He then went to Brighton, and magically found himself at Chelsea.
There's no magic.
Anyway, his name is Potter. He could have been Harry, so Harry Potter magic.
That's a nice one.
Okay, now let's do team of the week.
Yeah.
Ladies first. Timothy goes first.
Never nangi. Carry. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right.
But it's called you ladies. He would have said lady first.
Why? It's not a number. Let me just keep quiet. My team of the week, I have Jose Sa in as my goalkeeper, the Wolverhampton Wanderers goalkeeper. He kept Spurs, and out of such Spurs, yes, but he literally kept Wolves alive single-handedly in that game last weekend. Right back, there's a guy called Jeremy Frimpong. He's at Bayer Leverkusen. He comes on, plays half an hour, gets a goal and an assist. He's being rumored to join a bigger team in the summer, so we'll be waiting to see what happens with that. Andy Robertson at left back. He turned back the years. That's the honest truth. I'd not seen him play like that for a while.
But that pass that went to
Gakpo.
To Gakpo,
yes.
Brilliant.
First of all, how does Fred find himself in that position?
Because
And where was
Diego
Dalot?
is out of position.
Because
and
Liverpool had the ball.
Fred has to cover both his position and Dalot's position. And so he gets caught in no
So
man's
were
land.
Man U going for an attack?
United lost the ball in the middle of the pitch. And it
Okay.
was a quick transition. Robertson, of course, providing the killer pass. And yeah,
And of course, because the Manchester United manager had one Bissaka who would be very effective at Anfield and chose to go with Dalot.
who is
To get
bang
them
out
muscle.
of form since the World Cup.
We shall have time to cry.
My centre backs are Matthias De Ligt.
Bayern
Monstrous performance in the Champions League. There's a block he did on the goal line.
The goal line
against
clearance.
Vitinha.
Yes.
I love seeing defenders who love defending. He makes a goal line clearance and celebrates it like a goal. And those are the things that I look for.
Martinez has been doing that.
By,
Yes,
by
yes,
any
yes.
chance, are you a John Terry fan?
No.
But you're a Winebridge fan?
No.
Okay.
And then Ethan Pinnock, the Brentford centre back as well. Midfield, I've got Alexis McAllister. I've got Harvey Elliott.
Of Liverpool.
Of Liverpool, yes. That was a very good performance in the middle of the park. Hurts me to say it, but yes, it is what it is. And then Antoine Griezmann, who is having a quietly historical season.
At
Atletico. He
yes.
has regained his mojo.
This guy's beat Sevilla by 6-1.
6-1.
He had a goal and an assist in that game, but he's been on a tear the whole season.
Even the World Cup, by the way.
Yeah, even the World Cup. He's this year he's one of the
And
top three playmakers.
He's changed his position.
Yes,
he's now
yes.
more involved in the midfield.
Yeah,
even defending.
He's gone back to 10,
than
which
when-
he was at Sociedad at the start.
Yeah, but at Barcelona he was striker winger. But now he's the guy who loves to have the ball.
Yes, and it's showing. It's showing in his performances lately. Right wing, again, Mo Salah. He destroyed
Who else?
Lisandro Martinez.
The
And
butcher was butchered.
He was butchered. That's the truth.
He was buried.
Nayo mpira wegutyo.
Tanaita huwa anonga again.
The memes of Lisandro Martinez are everything.
Anyway,
You see, the thing that makes me happy with that is one.
There's one where-
Lisandro Martinez knows his deficiencies
Yes.
physically.
He makes
And
up
I
for
saw-
them.
He makes up for it by being so rough.
I saw Gakpo,
and that couldn't fly last
I saw Gakpo
weekend.
winning headers off him. And then there's that meme that came where he was entering the tomb. Where Jesus was buried.
It's hard, man. I hate this game. I really hate this game.
Oh, Evra loves the game.
On the left wing, there's a boy at Sassuolo. He's called Amand Lauriente.
The guy who scored the free kick.
Yes.
Yeah.
He scored a free kick, had 2 assists. I watch out for him. I
Is-
feel like he's the kind of player who moves to a team like Leeds.
This guy.
Is he the replacement for Boga? Jeremy Boga.
No. There's a difference for Hamad Traore.
Oh, for Traore.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they haven't
They
replaced
have been
Boga
there,
since he joined
but
Atlanta.
I have a guy in the same team.
Yeah.
The guy who plays as a number 3, wears shirt number 6 from Brazil. He's a
Yeah.
guy I've always wanted to have a move to a bigger club. But by the look of things now, I don't think he'll get it, but it's been very good for them.
Yeah.
And actually, the entire team, they look okay, but unfortunately, this season results are not coming their way. At least they manage draws, but they are not getting easy wins at the time.
Loriente looks like the kind of player who moves to a Southampton or a Leeds and consistently does things. It will be interesting to see how he develops, but yeah. And then my centre forward is Gonzalo Ramos, the Benfica striker. He
in the Champions League.
Yes.
Against Bruges.
I think he scored twice, had an assist as well. So yeah. Flop of the week.
Well, that one is obvious.
Okay,
goal of the week.
Goal of the week was Jean Meyer, Club Bruges against Benfica. It was only a consolation in a 5-1 loss, but my goodness me, what a goal that was. And then player of the week, Mo Salah.
Chiduma. Okay, your team of the week.
Real quick. You are Maziman. You are facts.
I don't know how the iron sheets got to my compound to get them mass.
Anyway, goalkeeper for me, Mike Mignon. I hadn't seen him in some time. He was the best goalkeeper for me before the other season. So he did well against Spurs. And like Abu said in the first one, that guy was playing around four positions as a goalkeeper. Right back, there's a boy at Roma called Gianluca Mancini. I was playing more on the right in a back three, and he looked very, very good. Left back, just to be a little bit different from Timothy, Robertson was very, very good. But Chilwell put in a performance against Dortmund. He was the best player on the pitch for me. He was involved in both goals, the assist to Sterling. He won the penalty, and he had a very, very good interception when Dortmund could have scored. So I'll play Chilwell. Centre backs, Mathis De Ligt against PSG. Very, very brilliant. Wesley Fofana for Chelsea had the winner in the game against Leeds and was also very good in the Champions League.
Yeah. It's okay.
There's something you wanted to add. You're good, Amazon.
No. It's okay.
Okay. He wanted me to play Saliba, who conceded 2 goals. Actually, 4 goals in the week. Sorry. Fofana plays for me there. Midfield, Joshua Kimmich for Bayern. Yes. I'll play Alexis McAllister for Brighton. And then I'll play Memphis Depay in the Atletico game. Then up front, Mo Salah, of course. Phil Foden looks like he's gaining his mojo back. Phil Foden looks like he's back. The last 4 games for Man City has been very good. And up front, Goncalo Ramos, the boy that scored the hat-trick in the World Cup when Ronaldo was benched against Switzerland. And he managed to score 2 and provide an assist in midweek. So that is my 11.
You are having the grandest time with the Rands, and there's a knock on the door. It's Bra Ali's tweet. Listen.
Creative Digital Media, creating with you. Creative Digital Media.
Biggest sporting action across the globe.
.2 CROOZE FM, great music, great friends. The weekly sports roundup show comes for its second last quarter. It is okay. And my name is Abo, here with Derek Kashimwe and Timothy. We are live on 91.2 CROOZE FM on YouTube, and that is CROOZE TV. Go check us in there, subscribe, and then put your comment. We shall read everything. We've seen guys who are there already. Kanabi and Danson says, thank you for the show. He's in Chamo Hungabushenyi. And then this one wants to know the injuries at Chelsea. He says he's at Liverpool House. There is when Mbarara one is called Inebiona Chizito.
You said he's at Liverpool House and this man almost got a heart attack because of Liverpool.
Hey.
Guy ku Liverpool House wali mu town.
On
On holiday ko Liverpool nafuna PTSD.
We're going to name this Liverpool FM and he won't come back. We have Mwine Felix as well, who wants a comparison between Anthony and Sancho, as if he was listening to us when we were off air, trying to talk about Sancho.
I take neither of the two.
And then why the coach doesn't play him, honestly. He says that he's listening in from BSU, that is around Nyakizi. So whoever is at BSU, especially those who are in the main hall, we send you greetings during the Chisawe. It's Maino. But yeah, it's main hall. We have other guys. This is Sarapio we've seen. We are just sending greetings to you. He wants to... He's called you the Manchester United guy. The Manchester United guy is called Timothy, but he's talking about Phil Jones and what he's doing at United. Okay, briefly, what does he do?
He mentioned Phil Jones and I was thinking...
You would have done better against Liverpool?
No. He actually came for his first match, I think, in the 4-0. And he was the only one who looked decent. So, but about Phil Jones... there was a story. There's actually a story. There's a story that Newcastle and PSG are considering moves for Harry Maguire, and I found it very interesting because my first impulse was, okay, that's good news, but it hit me. Maguire is a kind of player who moves to those kinds of teams and becomes a solid defender again.
Especially Newcastle.
I wanted the same thing for Phil Jones because Phil Jones. He became a meme. People forgot that he was actually a very solid player before the injuries ravaged him. It got to a point where he was offered a testimonial by the club and he turned it down because he felt nobody was going
apart
to come
from
for it.
Apart from his parents.
And that hurt me. That hurt me because why does it?
And it's the same guy who refused to give Varane number 4.
Yes. So
okay.
This man is going to cry. This man is going to
tell us about your best of the week.
A player is Salah, of course. He overtook Robbie Fowler.
Yeah.
He now has 129 Premier League goals for Liverpool. The other week, he overtook Giroud for the most Champions League goals. He has 44, level with Drogba, the African with the most goals there. Well, Salah is breaking many records. I think the funny thing is that he doesn't have so many trophies to show for it. He has a Premier League and a Champions League.
So many years?
No, he has many personal accolades. But if you look, this man should have an extra Premier League, one extra Champions League. But Man City and Madrid have made sure that shouldn't happen.
Giroud has won at least.
He's won everything Giroud hasn't won.
Or even Carragher. So is your
coach? The flop is Moise Kean. The Roma Juventus thing, that was horrible from him.
He's been given a new contract though. So.
He signed on a permanent from Everton.
But what do you do? Because you won't be playing in the Champions League. So you need to have these guys tied down. In case other players leave.
Yes.
Because they already have problems.
The Adrian Rabiot's are already talking. Coach of the week for me, Jose Mourinho. Beating Juventus.
And then also
beating Sociedad.
Winning in the Europa League.
Goal is Reece Nelson for the importance for Arsenal fans. But I was telling you that Arsenal have been lucky this season. And I can even break it down for you if you want.
It's okay, but
Arsenal
Vieira has denied them many goals.
Well, you can talk about the Brentford game. But for me, luck, the definition of luck is opportunity, preparation and opportunity meeting at the right time. Now, Arsenal has been lucky in very many games this season. Let's start with Manu. Casemiro not available. That is one. Actually, no. Let's start with this weekend. They play against Fulham. The player with the most tackles in the Premier League is who? João Paulinho. Unfortunately, he's not around today. Arsenal played Manu when Casemiro was not around. Arsenal played Spurs in both London derbies. The first one at the Emirates, Kulusevski wasn't around. The one at the White Hart Lane or the London Stadium, Bentancur was not around. Arsenal played Brighton when McAllister and Caicedo were both not around. Arsenal played against Liverpool at Emirates, and Diaz was injured in the first half. Arsenal played against Leicester the other week when Maddison, the best player for Leicester, was not around. Arsenal played against Aston Villa, and in the last minute, they had a post. Jorginho hit the post, and it ricocheted off Martinez's head. In the same 90th minute, Aston Villa hit the post, and for it actually went out. Against Bournemouth last weekend.
You're scaring me.
Let me finish.
They sound like a team who...
Against Bournemouth last weekend. The referee had 6 minutes. Arsenal scores in the 97th minute. Arsenal have been lucky. Now, back to my definition of luck. Back to my definition of luck. Luck is when opportunity meets preparation. Now, where I give Arsenal some credit is that Arsenal of the other years, these things wouldn't matter. They would still lose those games. But somehow they've been prepared this time and they've used that. But Arsenal have been lucky. And how do I know? I've seen my team win the league 5 times. Yours has won it 1,000,000 times. Every team that wins the Premier League has an ounce of luck somewhere.
I hate to admit this, but they're playing like champions. They win
But
games.
also-
They have no right
to win.
The game against Bournemouth score a second, I think.
That's
9 seconds.
9 seconds.
Yes.
The second fastest goal.
And Arsenal win it with 1 second to
Arsenal
go.
2 years ago lose that game.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. lose
And
that
you
game.
know it.
Arsenal have enough character.
This season, yes.
And for me, that's a worrying sign, of course, as a rival fan. But then,
But I think they also have better players in certain positions. Because previously, all those chances would be falling to Giroud.
Yes.
And you'd be missing.
You disrespect Giroud. You disrespect
No, but he
Olivier
had a
Giroud.
bad time at Arsenal.
No,
Especially-
he scored more than 100 goals for the club.
Yes, he did. But there's a period Arsenal were on top of the table. The
Ozil season with
Ozil
19
season.
assists.
Ozil had 36 balls crossed to Giroud for him to break the record for the
Most assists.
season most
Anyone
assists.
needs,
Guy missed all of them. Then Leicester came and took over Arsenal at the top of the table. When Arsenal beat Leicester, they closed the gap, I think, to 2 points. And then Mr. Giroud started happening.
I'm not going to let you slander Olivier Giroud. That man is a cult hero. Giroud scored more than Giroud scored more than 100 goals for Arsenal.
So why do I
Wait,
put Lukaku?
Giroud went to Chelsea. He was the top scorer when Chelsea won the Europa League
Yes.
in that season. He was also the top scorer when Chelsea won the Champions League.
But also,
He's the top scorer for France. He has scored more goals than Thierry Henry for France.
No, but I think both of you are right.
He's helped AC Milan win a Scudetto after 10
I
years.
think both of you are right in different ways. Yes, I know that. But for these guys, for Arsenal, that's not the version they got.
yeah, it's very
It's that
true.
easy.
Because Giroud
A guy that scored 100 goals for you.
and I'm telling you this,
Until have 100 goals
in the Europa,
No,
in
not
the
everyone scores
Europa
them.
you can be top scorer with 11 goals
Yes.
and win the league. In the Champions League you can be top scorer with 8 goals and win the Champions League. In Carabao Cup 6 or 5 and still win it. But in the Premier League you need 20 goals plus.
And Giroud has never
And this is
been
the
a
guy who was
20
supposed to score goals for Arsenal.
Okay, one final question. And I asked this during the World Cup. Olivier Giroud and Romelu Lukaku, when you look upon their careers after they are retired, who will be above the
I
other?
don't like this question because
In terms of achievements, Giroud will be ahead of Lukaku.
But
in terms of goals scored,
yes,
Lukaku will be way ahead of
if you give
Giroud.
me that choice, if you had me choose between Lukaku and Giroud, I would have to take Giroud because of his all-round play. Everything
you
else
see what
is-
you've just said?
Yes.
But you can't tell me one season where Giroud was actually world class.
Yes.
Apart from the Montpellier season.
He was not even world
Now what
Farmers League.
that's what Arsenal expected. And one couldn't. Okay, so many topics and achievements and good and bad things happened during the week. But during this period as well, you can give us a call. We are on 075291219112, then 078091219110. And that is for you to talk to us on radio. But you can go to CROOZE TV. That is on YouTube. Just put a comment and we'll read everything for you. For you, you can see us. But for us, we can't see you. Karunji Adams.
That's a bar.
Thank you. Thank you.
John Cena, you can't see me.
Thank you, presenters. This is Adam Bell live in Mbarara. Kindly tell me about the injuries in Liverpool. We shall do that for you. JT Media. Hey, aliwana kola bintu bya Sankara Creative Media. He says he's JB Tech. That is Uganda. And I think Arsenal forwards are going to face it rough with Gabriel Jesus. I don't know what you mean, but it says maybe when the guys return, the other opponents will face it rough. He's counted in Ketia in this equation, then Trossard and Gabriel Jesus. So Ateta will be trying to protect Jesus for national duty. I'm in Mandela. Thank you for being in Mandela. This is Ajuka Cleo. Outside is watching live from the bus. Safe journey. And we have Angalano Daniel who says, thank you for the show. Liverpool win 3-1 against Bournemouth today. And this is Atuhile Ivan who says, leave Giroud alone. Okay, let's talk about Seven Hag.
An army.
Seven Hag won in midweek. That is Europa. Wano Europa to until Arsenal and Man U started playing in there, and now feel the trophy is very important. Okay, let's talk about Premier League.
There was an argument about it having the same clout as the Champions League this year. At that time when Barcelona just dropped down, Juventus, in terms of that teams with the most European pedigree, a big chunk of them were in the Europa League. So, of course, it's only UEFA.
Let's talk about the Premier League, which matters.
Premier League. Chelsea finally won a game.
Oh, they did. That's why he's excited to talk about the Premier League.
Okay,
No,
let's
that game
start
was in
from
the
there.
Champions League.
Even we also won on the Premier
won
League.
in the
But
Premier
let
League.
me give you a start. When I was watching the Liverpool Man U game, first half ended 1-0, and actually Man U played better than Liverpool in the first half.
I don't think
Man U had 4 chances in the first half.
You wanted to
They
get
could
Chelsea.
have done it.
How
No,
have you gotten
I'm
there?
getting to my point. Now, in the second half, when Liverpool scored 6, the first thing that comes to my mind is that between November and last weekend, Chelsea scored 6 goals. And Liverpool scored 6 goals in the second half. If that doesn't tell you the contrast between the two clubs, I don't know what will.
But Chelsea defend well.
What kills me so much is 2 weeks ago I was speaking with Derek and he was telling me Liverpool have more problems than Chelsea. And you know what? I agreed with him.
But you know
sitting here right now, I'm thinking, why?
Timothy,
What are we thinking?
I was saying that for one reason. I meant defensively. Chelsea, like Abu said, Chelsea's problems we knew, but we knew that Chelsea would actually be very good defensively. Kepa has actually been okay. I'm surprised I'm saying that, but Chelsea have found a way to play in their defense. When everyone returned with the signing of Badiashile, which has been the best signing that Chelsea has done, in my opinion, they've found a way to play without conceding. If they concede, it's 1 goal, it's not 2 or 3. And that is one positive I would say, that Potter has found that. He knows how to play with his defense, with the return of Chilwell and Reece James. Unfortunately, Thiago Silva is out for about 1 more month. But defensively, Chelsea know what they are doing. They know what they will do in terms of that. Now, going forward, you have your question marks with a very inefficient João Felix. You bought Mudryk for 100 million. The guy cannot play. Madueke was also signed. You're starting Ziyech ahead of him. The question marks are up front.
Chelsea scored 2 goals against Dortmund, and both of them, they were trying their very best to miss them. Unfortunately,
Sterling first quauled the ball, but then scored. Havertz first missed the penalty, he had to retake. But I think the problem is up front. Defensively, I can say Potter has found, well, since you called him Magical Harry Potter, he's found a magic wand defensively. But going forward, he has to sort that out. That's what I think about Chelsea.
Okay, so we are done with Chelsea. We shall talk about Liverpool. Let's talk about Arsenal. We started with them and how lucky they are becoming. But for the whole game, they have had better performances at home, especially when they're defending, actually away from home than when they play at home. So now they play Fulham, I think, tomorrow. But what did you see in terms of the character they have? Trossard got injured, but again, the guys who came in, the same guys who are tested in the Europa League and still couldn't perform. But what do you see from the character, from Martinelli, from Reece Nelson, from Odegaard, and the way they are moving forward?
I want to commend Arsenal on their January signings. If Arsenal win the Premier League, I'm not saying when they win it, I'm saying if they win it, the January signings.
I gave the trophy to Man City at the start of the season.
We'll look back at the January signings and see how key they've been. Trossard and Jorginho. With Trossard, the unavailability of Gabriel Jesus. Jesus has been out for 2 months. When Jesus got injured, Arsenal were 5 points clear. He's returning now, and they're still 5 points clear. That speaks volumes of what the people that have filled in those boots have done. The signing of Trossard, it has given Arsenal more options, and Trossard is a very versatile player. He can play off any wing, he can play behind the striker, or he can even play as a false 9. That is a very big signing. Although we know that Arsenal wanted Mudryk, but they ended up with Trossard. Then the Jorginho signing, the times that Partey has been out, Jorginho has actually helped cover that space, because otherwise Arsenal would find themselves going back to Xhaka playing as the deep six. So for me, the January signings have been very, very key to what Arsenal has done. But I'm going to tell you that in the last 2-3 years, Arsenal's best signing, in my opinion, and David Seaman, the best Arsenal goalkeeper in recent history, agrees with me. It is Aaron Ramsdale, the goalkeeper at Arsenal. For me, that has been a game changer for Arsenal. And he's what Pep wanted when he told Joe Hart to go to Torino, when he bought Claudio Bravo and Bravo failed.
And then finally found him in
He found Ederson, and I think Arteta saw what Pep did with the goalkeepers, and he knew he had to replicate that at Arsenal. And Ramsdale has fit perfectly into that.
Musinguzi kikusikira feso bayireki musajja wiwe nkugambire ki kibaro kya
Roundup. We don't just cover sports, but give meaning to sports news and spot-on analysis.
.2 CROOZE FM, great music, great friends. We have 18 minutes to the end of the show. We shall finish at 2 p.m. or any minute towards 2 p.m. I'm called Dabo here with Derek Ashimwe and Timothy. We are live via Creative Media and we are on CROOZE TV on YouTube. We have guys who are complaining, especially those who are at one guy was talking about Giroud. There is at Hulile Ivan, and we also have Sentamo Kelvin who is watching from GGMU. What is that? And we have Talema Smith.
GGMU. That is glory Manchester United.
Hey.
The GGMU. Glory Man United. The way Arsenal has come on you Gunners.
Then we also have Ineluhanga Ashton, who is watching from Kakoba at BSU. Injuries at Man City will come to that. And this is Ilandemie Anataz, who says the one with the Manchester United jersey. This is so funny. So we've got Mr. Bean. And we have Kato Benson, who says Rwencheru. But Liverpool beating Manchester United 7 goals. Okay, we start from there. byaliwo. But what went wrong?
United collapsed. It's that easy. You do not concede a goal 2 minutes before halftime, and another goal a minute just after halftime. You do that at Anfield. Close shop. Ten Hag was, I wanted to say, my flop of the week, and man, I love Ten Hag, but he got it wrong. He simply got it wrong. You do not go to Anfield and be 2 goals down before the 50th minute, and you keep on being that open. Accept the loss, sit back, defend. Can never get the goal, let it end 3-0.
Honorably.
Yes, you lose, but with pride.
You save face.
Anfield is a cauldron. Even Pep Guardiola knows it.
He respects Anfield.
He goes to Anfield and tries as much as possible. He's rarely as cautious as he is. So United just collapsed. After that incident, the Lisandro Martinez thing with Salah, United just fell apart. United stopped chasing. You cannot stop chasing. Those are basics. At any level of the game, you cannot stop chasing. You cannot be that open. The fourth Liverpool goal, the goal that Mo Salah scores on the counter. How are you going to go and overload the Liverpool box and then create a 4 against 3?
You see that goal?
This is Anfield.
That goal you talked about. Anthony loses the ball in the half for Liverpool.
He's trying to dribble into the box, and
he loses the ball in the half for Liverpool. Salah is in the same half. By the time Salah scores the goal, Anthony is still in Liverpool's half. And I'm thinking, you and Salah were at the same point, and you didn't fall back. Salah scores the goal,
and
you're still there. And
you lost the
ball.
So I think United lost their heads. I saw Rashford say that's not true, that's nonsense, we are professionals, we cannot do that, which was ironic because Ten Hag himself actually went out there and said that was the second half performance was not even professional at all. You do not collapse like that. If you're playing at that level, you need to have a mentality to hang in there even when you've lost a game, because teams do this all the time. You accept the game has gone away from you and then you defend. Jose Mourinho used to go to Anfield, pack the bus and live with a 1-1, live with a 0-0.
That game has the worst performance of Bruno Fernandes I've seen in a Manchester United shirt.
Does he remain captain? Because
he does.
And the rest are saying
no.
The guy falls many times and complains.
I think it's an overreaction.
And he pushed the linesman in there, and they're looking into it.
It was embarrassing. No, actually, they said they're not going to charge him. That was
he's lucky.
Yes.
But Bruno has captained Man U 19 times in the Premier League. They've won 13 games of his captaincy. Now look at how many times Ronaldo captained the club once, and Maguire captained the club in the other games, and when those two are captain, United didn't do well.
I think so. You see the problem with the result.
The
problem with a result like this is everybody overreacts. The thing is, it's a freak result. You could play that game 5 times now, and trust me, such a result cannot happen again.
Let's pick a caller. CROOZE FM, hello?
Yes, CROOZE FM.
Yes, Sabu.
This is Teacher Ronald. An Arsenal fan. I would like to know, how many goals does Wheat Wiggles have?
An Arsenal fan is asking.
How many are they? 2?
He has 2 goals.
0 in the Premier League.
And he touched the Anfield banner. This is Anfield banner. And Man U fans are killing him.
He scored on Thursday though.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
How are you doing?
This is Simon Nicola scoring in from Kizabanyakera. You are asking for
Pardon?
The man is doing the thing that you are asking at you.
Weghorst or Verhorst?
Yes, Weghorst.
What does he do exactly?
Would that the defending starting from the back helping the defender?
Okay.
Naenga Kemba Diambuza. Sandro Martinez.
Tanaita wow.
Amadi Council Diambuza. Sandro Martinez is not going to Canada. He's going to move on. Kuvanga kila zakayo muntu kugenda on Premier League.
You know, one of the reasons I like Lisandro Martinez so much, he goes into every single duel looking like he's going to lose, but somehow he comes out on top. The duel against Salah though, he came into it looking like he was going to win it, and well.
Hello, Derek Ashimwe.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, my uncle.
I'm okay. Who are we speaking to?
You have
You're speaking to Stepperban.
Stepperban. Which team do you support?
I'm blue fan, you know. If you don't know, you could don't know, bro.
Wagwan, brother.
Just everything cool with my fake coach Potter there.
Potter is trying. Me drink 7-Up.
The players are trying on their rack, but I'm not a coach, uncle.
Okay, you don't want Potter at Chelsea.
Who do you rather have? Who would you rather have as Chelsea manager?
What?
Who would you rather have coach Chelsea instead of Potter?
Zinedine Zidane, the CL contender.
The CL master.
You see, Chelsea is a winning team. They play maturity game. And when you compare...
All right, me brother.
Chelsea can dog up guys. No. To get them injured itself.
Let's start with Arsenal. Gabriel Jesus, he's nearing a return. Arteta is still tight-lipped with how he's handling the whole Jesus situation, but Jesus is nearing a return. Last week there was a video training. Jesus was at the driving. He was having driving lessons. So he's nearing a return. Nketiah, Trossard, Odegaard, and Tierney will have late fitness tests, but most likely they'll be available. El Neni is the long-term sidelined Arsenal player. At Man U, Donny van der Beek, Eriksen, long-term absentees. Martial and Sabitzer will have late fitness tests. Mason Greenwood, Timothy will tell us more. Then at Chelsea, Armando Broja, Thiago Silva, Azpilicueta, Mendy, Mason Mount has had a few injury issues. Reece James, the manager said he was ill yesterday, so he's unavailable. Kante, still not yet ready, but in training. Sterling, also a doubt, and so is Aubameyang. I don't know where Aubameyang got injured from, but yeah, he's a doubt for that game. At Liverpool, Calvin Ramsey, Thiago Alcantara, Joe Gomez, Naby Keita, Arthur Melo, and Luis Diaz is nearing a return, which will be a very big thing for Liverpool. At Man City, Phil Foden will have a late fitness test, and at Tottenham Hotspurs, Yves Bissouma, Hugo Lloris, Sessegnon, Emerson and Perisic will have late fitness tests, and Rodrigo Bentancur is out for the rest of the season. And I can also comfortably say that maybe Tottenham Hotspurs season might be as good as done.
Because Liverpool have a game on hand and looking for 3
points behind.
What guys on Facebook? Bobby Klaskan say the Fortuna Manchester United. Wakanukagambo chi sija kasoma baragamba Liverpool is back to normal. Tell me top earners in football worldwide this season is in Ntungamo. And then David Zisofa Naijuka say the Arsenal in the city and the third after 90 minutes still should Arsenal play the City game? Nango Luzunguru Sirutegede. Then Josh Kays said thank you for the amazing show. I'd like to know the injury that Manchester United we did that. Chris Rock onondoza that kubiranga yogero luniga. It was fascinating to watch Manchester United losing 7, and that is against Arsenal, and that is after Arsenal had won. Actually, they lost against Liverpool, and that's after Arsenal had won a game. This is Mr. Chimine Kafuleka.
Your trophies this season on a table.
Kakupu job.
Put your trophies on the table. It's very easy.
West J. Brian PBM says Liverpool will win and go to the top 4. Then we also have Regan Okumu. Who says thank you for the show. He's in Lugano Rampara representing. Update me about Luis Diaz injury. Derek did that for you. Did us Mark Gakutaka. Gakutaka. Will Jesus play against Fulham? He's in BDF Health Unit in Kabura. There is Mwizi. We also have Aliabimpa, Gaddafi is there many times. Ian Martinelli of Kakola, Uncle Express. We have Verona Dainebiona, Gaddafi again, Masigwa Brian, Nwamanya, Edson, Fresh Boy, and DJ Mark, Ice Mark, Uganda, Tumwes Wycliffe, Gaddafi again, Agaba Kennedy, and there's a red card here. Must be for the Man U guy. I have been and still a great listener of the show.
Abu, I wanted to
change your criticism.
I wanted to tell you about Antonio Conte. This guy hasn't gone past the round of 16 in Europe in more than a decade. The last time he did so was with Juventus.
His best
when he was coaching Juventus.
His best record in the Champions League is actually a quarter-final appearance.
With Juventus, the time he was coaching them and went and
What
beat them.
exactly does Conte want? Because as expected, like we said at the start of the season,
He-
he's a guy
he
who will buy
signed-
players
yes.
and then complain the entire season. You
about
didn't
the
give me
players
what
he
I
signed.
want. I know, he still complains they're not giving him the players he wants, and then run away from the team.
Which
As
he's
if
going to do.
He seems to be
he's
angry.
refused to sign a new
He
contract.
seems to be angling to get fired because after the AC Milan match, they ask him and he starts saying things like, maybe I'll finish the season, maybe they will fire me. I do not know if they want to fire me, they will. And you're thinking, this guy,
he's criticizing players. He's criticizing the guys who are responsible for giving him money to buy players, and you wonder what he wants. He wants.
He said
this is a team that was in the okay. He brought them to the Champions League. They had dropped out.
He said that as well. He said we need to understand last season Conference League. Now, please, we are making progress. You need to.
I just want to add, if Hurricane stays at Tottenham Hotspur's next season,
And
he'll
he's
be the
going to
most
stay.
unserious,
If they get a new
top
coach.
tier player.
I'm hearing there's a section of Spurs players who want Mauricio Pochettino to
back.
return.
And now, if they get a new coach, he will come and convince him, give him projects.
Ken has done everything he can at Spurs. He's been the whole time leading scorer.
The question is, where is Ken? What are his options? Where is he actually going?
Because every time he tries to leave, now Antonio Conte comes in. Because
That
he
time it
knows
was Mourinho who came in, convinced him.
Conte is a very good coach.
I'm
He
hearing
shall win
people
trophies.
linking him with
Manchester
United.
And I
If
think
you're going
it
to
will
get
be-
Ken, you're going to pay 100 million.
But
Ken
it's-
is 29.
It's going to be a great signing for Manchester United in case he joins them, regardless of how much they
No,
buy him
here's
for.
the thing. He's 29. He's going to cost 100 million. And there's a Victor Osimhen on the market as well.
But
Who has never played in the league.
How sure are you Osimhen is young?
Okay, that is another brilliant question, by the way.
But I think Ken gives more than anyone who comes from outside the
Of course,
Premier League.
he is more of a sure fire signing. You what you see is what you get. You're guaranteed that if you're going to put in that money and have him for the next 3 or 4 years, you're going to get your money's worth.
But you see, the debate that Ken has been in the league, he knows the league. I've just remembered. Wout Weghorst was in Burnley. He was also in the Premier League. He knows the league.
Jack Grealish was at Aston Villa.
Actually, Grealish has improved this season. If I'm being very
but
honest.
100 million. If
But
you go back to that,
Modric cost 88 million
that's my
pounds.
point.
100 million euros.
That's my point. If you're going to cost 100 million, you come with a target on your back. There is no negotiating with that. If you're going to get both for 100 million, you have to justify that. Nobody talks about that fee for Neymar because he actually justifies that.
Okay, the weekly sports roundup show comes to an end. Today is Saturday. Let's wait for the 7th day of the week tomorrow.
Which players committed the most fouls in the Premier League this season?
Must be from Man U.
It's actually a striker.
Weghorst.
No, and come on. Weghorst came in January. It's Kai Havertz. It's Kai Havertz, and that shocks me. But I'm going to tell you something that is going to happen this weekend.
So it's the new Lacazette.
Ward Pros has 17 free kicks.
Yeah.
Beckham has the most in Premier League history, 18.
Yes.
Beckham scored most of the free kicks at Old Trafford.
Yes.
Where is Ward Pros playing this weekend?
Old
At Old Trafford. I have a feeling that this is written on the stars. It is poetry that Ward Pros equals David Beckham's free kick record at Old Trafford.
Okay, in Chichwamba here in Mbarara City, there's someone called Ndiamunava. Ndiamuba. A Manchester United fan passed away after the game on Sunday.
That's tragic.
So tomorrow
Sad.
it will be 7 days since we lost a Manchester United fan. We'll see you. That will be next weekend on Saturday.
The weekly sports roundup. Weekly sports roundup. We don't just cover sports, but give meaning to sports.
Creative Digital Media. Creating with you. Creative Digital Media.
Do you ever feel overwhelmed managing a school, keeping track of attendance, grades, and reports? Introducing MavPress. With this innovative software, you can keep all your school's information in one place, accessible from anywhere at any time. Whether it's about tracking attendance, grading, or students' performance, MavPress makes it easy for you to stay on top of it all. Get started with MavPress School Management System today. MavPress, simplifying school management.